beautiful souls. I hope you all are doing really great. And to begin with, a very, very, very happy Independence Day to all of you. Hope you had a great time. You enjoyed your day. And actually, I'm recording this video on Independence Day. So, but yeah, by the time it reaches you, it will be post Independence. But still, happy Independence Day. And every day will be Independence Day for us, till the people, the defense personnel are there working for us, for safeguarding us. Yeah, that's really my heartfelt gratitude to all of the defense people who are working every moment, every time to safeguard the people who they don't even know, who are totally strangers to them, to safeguard their country, their nation, who don't even hesitate to sacrifice their lives for us. Yeah, it's really very, very, very thank you. Seriously. And what we people do, we sit at home and just worry over petty things, right? This person was rude to me, this person was just a big show off, how can he or she not talk to me, I didn't get a hike in my salary, I deserve much better. Or sometimes it's just as small as I wanted to eat this thing today, I'm unable to eat it. Or it can be that I didn't have good sleep, so I'm just feeling irritated. Right? Just think of the things which these people do for us so that we can worry over petty things, right? Anyways, with this, I remember today's topic, negative thinking. So what do you actually understand by negative thinking? Actually, this was a requested video, so I thought to make a video on that, on this topic. So what do you understand by negative thinking? See, negative thinking, the literal meaning of negative thinking is just thinking about any negative consequences. So is that it? Actually, the negative thinking which you usually talk about is not any thought of something going negative, something going bad. It's actually the fear and anxiety associated with it, right? This is the first thing. Second thing, let's come systematically, okay? What actually negative thinking is. See, we are robots, we cannot be positive all the times. We are humans, we are supposed to feel all the emotions. We are supposed to be angry, we are supposed to be happy, we are supposed to be sad, we are supposed to feel depressed. Not depressed, it's like just a bit of, sometimes depressed is something totally different. We are never supposed to feel depressed. Okay, so we are supposed to feel all the emotions at the right time, right? We are supposed to feel negative, we are supposed to feel fearful, we are supposed to feel anxiety until it's within limits. Okay, anything above the limits, anything which is excess is wrong, anything within the limits is perfectly fine. Yeah. So see, negative thinking is just your mind, because it is kind of a defense mechanism of your brain, of your mind. It is safeguarding you against any mishappening which might happen because of your carelessness, right? So it's a good thing. I feel negative thought, okay, until it is above the limits, above the normal range, it is very, very good. Because see, it our mind kind of wants us to be careful, right? For example, if we are walking somewhere, walking on a road which is full of traffic, and that thing comes in our mind that what if we get hit by any vehicle. So that I don't feel is a negative thought. That is a thought to safeguard ourselves, right? So that we are careful and we cross the road with caution. So that is not negative. See, the problem happens when we get anxious and fearful because of the repetitive unwanted thoughts. Unwanted thoughts are very, very important. They need to be actually stressed upon. Because see, the thoughts which are wanted, whether they are negative or positive, are healthy. But any kind of unwanted thoughts, especially the assumptions which are not real, which are just are born out of our imagination, or because of our repetitive obsessive thoughts which have no foundation, which have no logic, that is what gives rise to problems. And see, it's very, very important to think that it's not the problem. For example, if anyone is having any problem, it's not the problem which makes a person negative about it. It's basically the response to it. As I always say, fear and anxiety associated with it, which is always future based. You will never feel fearful or anxious about the past. Any, for example, if any mishappening occurred in the past. All you might feel is angry, depressed, sad, guilt, embarrassment whenever you recall that moment. But you will never feel fearful, right? You will never feel anxious. Fear and anxiety, which is the core of the most dreaded negative thinking, is totally future based. And we haven't seen the future ahead. We are just assuming the things that what if this happens, what if that happens, and what if is actually the root cause of the negative consequences of over negative thinking. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. So the first thing which you have to understand here is that negative thinking is not bad, your response is bad. The same situation can make a person happier and can make another person sad. For example, let's talk about food. For example, you want to have something, you wanted to eat something, okay, and you didn't get that, and you are very very upset about it. But the same food will make a person happy who hasn't eaten for many days, right? For example, you don't like the taste of the food and you get angry. Or for example, it's your birthday and no one wished you and you feel sad about it. But there is a person who has never been wished his or her birthday, and even a single person wishes them, they feel very very happy. And even if 10 people wish you, you are like that, all my friends didn't wish me, why only 10 people wish me? So same situation, different responses. Now you'll say that yeah, their situation is different because they have faced many hardships, right? They have never been wished, so a wish by a single person is also perfect for them. But I have always been wished by many people, so this was a negative situation for me. Yeah, right, this is what we think. So let's take your example only. For example, you are just sad or you are upset that you didn't get to throw a party or at your birthday. Yeah, then immediately you get a news that, hypothetical, god forbid, but still you get a news that someone who you liked or admired met with an accident. Then would you worry about your birthday party? You won't, right? You won't care about it anymore. You will rush to the hospital or you will just ask their well-being. This is what you will be worried about. So same situation, see, it's not the problem because the problem is there. The problem was always there, the issue, the situation was there. You were not allowed to throw a birthday party. Previously you were upset about it, now you had a bigger problem, so this problem doesn't matter to you at all. So this is what I'm trying to say, that it's your response to the situation. And this is where actually gratitude comes into play. What people say that always be in gratitude, focus on the things which you have. This is where it comes into play. Even when you didn't get to throw a birthday party, just think of the things which you have currently which others might not have. And this is what will make you come out of that negative thinking, that loop of negative thinking or overthinking, you can say. Yeah, another thing with that, with overthinking, see, overthinking is also not negative unless it's non-productive or counterproductive. This is very very important. We are always taught by the people, always be positive, always think happy, think of positive in any negative situation. Trust me, this is totally wrong. You cannot be positive all the time. You are not a laughing robot, right, that you will always be happy. We are humans. And the second thing is, be positive no matter what. Don't think of the negative thing anytime, always focus on the positive. How is it possible? If you see a lion standing in front of you, will you be positive and think that no, no, lion will not do anything to me? This is this is abnormal, right? We are supposed to feel the right emotions at the right time. So please, if anyone says always be positive, don't always be positive. Okay, be positive where it is required and think negative where it is required, but never dwell upon any thinking, right? Excess of anything is wrong. Don't get into a loop of negative thinking by assumptions. Don't overthink, which is don't overthink on the stuffs which are either non-productive or counterproductive. Overthinking for productive and constructive things is very very good. This is what scientists do, this is what researchers do, right? So it's good. Over, see, always as I always say that anything is not bad, it's our response and our way towards it, our outlook towards it, which makes it negative or positive. People say overthinking is bad, I'm overthinking on the stuff, I'm over analyzing the situation. But sometimes this over analysis safeguards you. Unless it's under normal limits, right? This is very, very important. Till it's under normal limits, it's perfectly fine. The moment it crosses and becomes excessive loop or obsession with other assumptions which are totally unreal, is what is the basis of the problems, the anxiety, the fear you are facing because of negative thinking. So it's very, very, very important. Another thing which I come across, which many people see, actually, I want to tell you one thing here, that whatever you read on social media, whatever quotes you read, positivity quotes, motivational quotes, or what people say, coaches say to you, it is just the gist of it. It's not the whole story. So please don't go by the words. For example, the biggest example is face your fears, only then you'll be successful, right? This is which what everyone says, but this is just a small part of it. Facing fears comes in different ways. Facing fears doesn't mean that you are scared of heights and in order to face your fears, you jump out of a 20-storied building. This is highly abnormal, right? This is not what facing your fear means. There are different ways to it. So please, this was just an example. So please don't go by each quote, each thing which is written there. It is right, but it is just the gist of it. No one is going to actually explain the situation to you. So please, reading it on a normal basis in a general way is very, very good. But if you are having any problem, any psychological issue, or any kind of stress, or any kind of so-called or overthinking, like counterproductive or non-productive overthinking, and you are unable to get rid of it, please don't go by these quotes, because this is just a gist of it. Okay, so these are few things which you need to understand. First, you need to understand what the definition of overthinking is. Second, overthinking, as I always say, as I was talking about, is only future based, and future has not yet happened. So why do we need to worry about it at the first place, about the things which are not happened, right? I would like to tell a thing here, just like example of negative thinking, what we do and how we make a mountain out of a hay. For example, you see a fiber. Okay, I'm just giving metaphors here. If you see a small fiber of a root, okay, a root fiber, you take that, you imagine, and this fiber is the fact, the problematic situation you are dealing with now. Okay, so you take that fiber, you imagine that, okay, from this fiber another fiber will come, then another, and then this whole root will be formed, and then I'll get a soil and I'll plant these roots inside, and a stem will come out of it, then branches will come out of it, then leaves will come out of it, so finally the whole tree will be formed. Is this possible, do you think? You have, the reality is only the fiber which you are having, but you have imagined the whole tree. Few people imagine the steps afterwards also, that how will I take care of the tree, what will happen if this tree, if I'm unable to take care of the tree, or if few people, they don't want tree, they are like, oh, I'll have to cut it down, or somehow I have to stop it, how can I stop a tree from growing? So all these kind of problems which are totally irrational. So sometimes, see what happens, that most of the times, actually 99% of the times, problem is not big, it's a very petty problem, but we make it so big that we feel that we are unable to come out of it. Yeah, so the first thing which you can do to, if you are habituated to over analyze the things which are counterproductive or non-productive, is you can kind of make a flow chart. First of all, just make a flow chart. The first thing will be writing the facts, what the current situation is. Okay, and then yeah, but for that you need to detach yourself first. Like, think this situation as someone else's and not yours. This is very, very important, because again you will be attached. Okay, so people who say detach yourself and all, this is what it means currently here, because today I'm not talking spiritual, I'm talking purely psychological and sometimes medical. Okay, so here talking about psychological aspects. So first, think this situation as someone else's, that what if someone else was going through this situation and you are not the one who is going through this situation, then what would you do? The first thing is, just make a flow chart. Okay, write the fact. Below that, just right, 50% probability is that the situation will lead to a positive outcome, maybe some miracle happens or something like that. Because see, the other 50% which is negative, you cannot guarantee. For example, any situation is happening in your life currently, can you guarantee, can you give 100% guarantee that this situation will definitely lead to a negative outcome? You cannot guarantee. It happens in rare cases, which I will talk about at the end. But 99.9% of the problems can go either way, either positive or negative. And what makes them negative is our negative thinking. Because out of fear, when we act out of fear, or when we decide, take decisions out of fear, it is never the right decision, because our logical thinking gets impaired at that time. We are unable to make the right decision, right? So it's very, very important to take any decision in a calm state of mind, because problem is not what leads to negative consequences. Always, as I say, I have mentioned here also, it's our response which makes the situation worse and which leads to negative consequences. If we are already fearful, our actions are fear based, obviously it will be a negative outcome only, right? So first of all, detach yourself from the outcome. Think of this situation as someone else's. Make a flowchart. The first point will be writing the fact what the current situation is. Then probability is 50% it will be positive, 50% it will be negative. If you think the situation from a third person's perspective, you'll know that yeah, it's not guaranteed, it can be positive, it can be negative. If you think it from your perspective, then you will only think of negative thing only. So this is why I'm asking you to detach. So the first 50% is negative, rest 50% is positive. Okay, now we are leaving the positive things here, because no matter how much any coach actually shouts on you, or just like repeats it to you that please think positive, please think positive, we cannot think positive. And another reason to it is that our mind actually focuses on the things where it should not focus. For example, if I just say this to you right now, that the curtain which is there behind me, it has a plane, a flight on it. Don't look at it, please don't look at the flight which is there behind, on the curtain behind me. So what is the first thing which you'll do? You'll search for the plane. I have talked about it, I've told you not to focus on that, so you will definitely focus on that. Another thing, if I just ask you to close your eyes and imagine of all the vegetables except tomatoes, then the first thing which will come to your mind is tomatoes only. So this is how our mind works. When we are asked not to focus on anything, our mind focuses on that thing only. So this is why when coaches and therapists, they ask you to be positive, be positive, be positive, you cannot be positive. And trust me, if you think negative a lot, like for example, if they tell you not to be positive or just the opposite, then your mind will go towards positive aspects only. For example, I just give you a small example, a very interesting example. For example, if you're already thinking negative, okay, and someone says that yeah, you are right, it is very bad thing will happen, then what is the first thing which comes to your mind? What if that bad doesn't happen? What if some miracle happens and it gets better, right? Because we are focusing on negative here, your mind is going on positive thing. So whatever you don't focus on, your mind goes there only. So the first thing is, here we will not focus on the positive. Making a flowchart, writing the fact, the problem you're having, on one side, it can either be negative outcome or positive outcome. Ignore the positive, 50% is allotted to that, so leave that. Now we'll focus on the negative thing here. So there is 50% probability of negative thing happening. Now imagine that that negative consequence has happened. Yeah, now what? Now what? Either that negative thing, whatever has happened, it can somehow turn to be positive, or it can be negative again. Like it will lead to any negative outcome, or it will lead to any positive outcome. Many times we suffer, we go through hardships, and later it proves that okay, it was beneficial for us, right? So every situation has two options, it has two doors, positive and negative. So that negative thing, that 50% of the negative thing, again has its future as 50% positive or 50% negative, because nothing is guaranteed, future is never guaranteed. So 25% of that will be 50% of that will be positive, 50% of that will be negative. Again, focus on that negative thing, leave the positive outcome, focus on that negative thing. Now just think that Is it possible that anything positive out of that negative consequence can happen? Write that positive thing. Then write what is the negative thing which can happen. So similarly, go on writing, and there will be a time when you realize that there is nothing negative which is set, or which is irreparable, or which cannot be mended or changed or modified. Because this is the truth. This is why I asked you to detach yourself and make the flow chart, because it will be factual. Our mind believes on facts, logic. So this is why I asked you to think logically and make this flow chart. There will be a time when you realize that, yeah, doesn't matter whatever negative thing is happening, there is definitely something positive coming out of it, right? Nothing is like, okay, this is the end, this is the dead end, this is the dead end, and it cannot be repaired, right? At least any future based thing is never that. You always have solution to that. You always have a negative and a positive door to any situation, and your response, basically your decision, which is governed by your emotions and feelings, makes you choose either the positive door or the negative door. It's never the situation, it's a response. Please remember that. So now, we have made the flow chart. Now you have understood that, okay, focusing on that 50% of the negativity, there is actually nothing which cannot be repaired. Everything has a solution to it, and that branches go on and on and on. Okay, now just look at the whole flow chart. Just look at the whole flow chart, and focusing on the negative side, that is the 50% of the negative side which you made in the flow chart, you will understand that even it is not negative, because it's not the end. Something positive always is coming out of it, right? It's never that any negative thing is the end. So basically the probability of that thing, actually I guess I'm being a bit mathematical here, but still, so the probability of that negative thing is zero, actually, right? Because it's not exactly negative. There's that positivity out of that. And now when you focus on the other side of it, which was already 50% positive, so it is positive only, right? And now when you look at the whole flow chart now, based on the fact, the situation you are in now, which is there at the top, below you'll see that the probability of negativity is actually zero, because every positive situation is born out of a negative situation, right? So that negative situation doesn't matter, so negativity is zero, and positivity obviously is as equal to, as close to 100%. Now just see, you have made the whole flow chart, but what the situation currently is, it's only 1% of the whole flow chart. It's actually the top, the small sentence, the small word, the small phrase at the top. That is the reality. But what you have done, you have made a big flow chart out of which 99% is just the probability, only 1% is the reality. So this is what makes us overthink counterproductive or non-productive. This is what I was trying to say. So the first thing which you can do here is, see, whenever this trigger happens, just do this flowchart method. It will give you a lot of satisfaction. It will give you a lot of peace, actually. You'll be happy, and you will know that, yeah, nothing is guaranteed. Yeah, positivity is also not guaranteed. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that positive will only happen. Negative can also happen. But every positive thing is born out of a negative thing. And it is in your hands to either choose a door of negative or choose a door of positive. I'm actually not talking as a coach here. I'm just stating the facts here. I'm not saying that, yeah, everything will be fine, just be positive. I'm never saying that. It can be negative, because it depends on you, what door you choose, what door you get in. But even if by mistake you get into a negative door, again, two doors will be there from that. One positive, one negative. So there is nothing which is the end. There is no dead end. Okay, so even if you commit any mistake in life, this is what I was talking about before some time, that there are few situations which actually are irreparable, especially the things which have happened in the past, right? For example, some serious issue, maybe someone met with an accident, or someone died, or something which is actually irreparable. Maybe someone became handicapped or something like that, god forbid, but hypothetically. So these are few things which cannot be repaired. But again, always remember, or maybe you did any mistake in your past and you are dealing with the negative consequences of choosing the negative door in the past. So yeah, definitely, if you choose a negative door, you will get with you will come across the negative consequences only. But anything which is irreparable, which has already happened, or anything which has happened because of your mistake. Doesn't matter what the situation is, doesn't matter what has happened in the past, doesn't matter what decisions you have taken in the past, doesn't matter what is happening in the present. You always have two options, positive and negative. So you can always mend the situation, you can always change the situation based on your decisions. And how does this decision, this correct decision making capability comes? How does it come? From peaceful mind. This is what is very, very important. Anything, you can even think of the smallest things, anything which you do out of anger, out of frustration, out of fear, out of lack of confidence, rarely it goes right. And even the toughest things which you do with happiness, with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm and confidence, 99% of the times even the toughest tasks go so well for you, right? This is what power of our mind is. Okay, so we have talked about what the reality of negative thinking is. Okay, because see, fear is always future based. For example, let's think another thing, anything, for example, which you have dreaded in the past. Let's go back to the past, let's retrospect a bit. Just think of any situation which you feared might happen, and which actually happened, which you feared before. So, and now just think, because obviously it has happened long back, so now you are adjusted to it. So just think that when that situation happened after some time, were you still that fearful as you used to be when that did not happen, when it was just in the future, when you were just assuming the things? I'm very, very sure it is not the case. Because, see, if we are fearful of anything which might happen in the future, and maybe that if that thing happens, just in case, we have this very miraculous ability. Our mind is gifted with this ability to adjust ourselves, adapt to that situation. Okay, because as I say, mind, whatever thoughts we have, it is the gift from the, okay, let's not talk about divine here, because this is totally psychological video. Okay, let's not go spiritual here. At the end, I'll speak about the spiritual aspects also a bit. But because see, in these things I have tried a lot with lot many people. Spirituality and just thinking or any law of attraction advices and these things don't actually um like are applied or are implemented by the people, especially by the beginners. So I'm here, I'm making this video especially for the beginners. Those who are habituated, they can just think positive in every situation, but I'm just talking about the beginners here. Just saying think positive, everything will be good, doesn't actually is believable by the beginners unless they have experienced it. Yeah, so let's talk factual here. So our mind is actually gifted with this beautiful gift of adaptability. Okay, and whatever thing happens, mishappening or good things, it gets adjusted to it, right? It gets adjusted to it. This is why the things which are not there, because see, let's take an example here. You far from you, you can see something lying down which you suspect as snake. Okay, what majority of the situations are like that, you think that, oh, this is a snake, I'm very, very scared, I can't go near it. And then somehow you are forced to go near it, and you go near it and you see that it's not a snake, it's a rope. So your fear immediately vanishes, right? So this is what the actually the problems are, that it is actually a rope, but it is so far, like it is so future based, that you think it as a snake. Other thing which I was talking about just now is, if there is a snake near you, or let's take another example, actually, if there is an interview which is upcoming and you are very, very fearful how it goes, what if I don't get selected, or what if something bad happens? This is the worst thing which can happen, that you will not get selected, right? This is what your fear is. So let's assume that, okay, you have been through the interview, you are not selected. Will you still feel the same fear which you felt before this interview happened? I'm very, very sure you will not feel the fear. In fact, you'll think that, okay, at least this thing has ended. Now I'll search for another job, I'll search for another thing. You might be sad about it, you might feel low about it, but you will not be fearful or anxious about it. We get this adaptability. Similarly, there are people who lost many important and serious things in their life. For example, people who meet with an accident, they get handicapped. Just thought of being handicapped makes a person so fearful. But ask those people, they are really brave. That bravery comes from within, that courage comes from within. Once that situation happens, god forbid it should not happen, I'm just giving you an example, that bravery comes from within, and they are used to it, and they live their life very happily with that thing. So similarly, whenever any mishappening strikes, our mind is gifted with that ability to adapt to it. This is very, very good. So don't fear, don't think that what if this happens. If this happens, you will have the courage to deal over it. Have you seen anyone who has been through any problem and for lifetime they are thinking about that problem only? No, right? They get adjusted to one situation, mishappening or good thing, doesn't matter, and then they move on to search for other problem. Then that gets resolved or doesn't resolve also, doesn't matter, then they search for other. This is how it happens. When anything strikes, when everything becomes the present, it gets ignored. This is what we do. We only focus on the future. We don't focus on, even if our situation is worse now, what do we think? Oh, if this is the situation now, what will happen in future? This is what we think, right? We don't worry about the present, because we know that yeah, it's going on somehow, but what will happen in future? So please don't focus on the thing which doesn't exist, because trust me, there is no solution to anything which doesn't exist. For example, if you say that what if there is a tree grows here out of all of a sudden. So no matter how much I convince you that a tree cannot grow here at this moment, it will be very difficult for you to actually come in terms with it. This is what happens to people who are in a loop of counterproductive or non-productive negative thinking. Other person who is detached understands that it's totally imagination, it's totally assumption, it's not real. But for the people who are dealing with it, it's very, very difficult. So please detach yourself from the issue and then understand that it's just assumption, it's just fear. Even if you are overthinking, just think something constructive. Even if you are overanalyzing, just do something productive, just learn from it. Okay, now I'm going to talk about like few things which you can do in order, if you are actually indulged into a loop of negative thinking. Because see, our mind picks up on emotions, picks up on memories. Our mind needs the memories, it feeds on the memories. Basically, if I just talk in normal language, it feeds on the memories, and those experiences are like drugs to our mind, and it always needs that thing. Okay, doesn't matter if it is a positive thought or a negative thought, or positive memory or a negative memory. If you repeatedly feed your brain that thing, it becomes like a drug, and it longs, it craves for that feeling again. This is why people who are indulged into negative thinking, despite of knowing the facts, understanding the facts, they are unable to implement it, because brain longs for that negativity. Okay, those hormones which are responsible for all these things, and the memory, the thing which gets stored in the hippocampus of the brain, it actually, the brain longs for it. It cannot get rid of it. It's just like a drug. People know that okay, drugs are negative, drugs have bad effects, but they are unable to leave them. Same situation here. So the other thing is, brain doesn't care what memories you are giving to it. It just cares about, okay, whatever you are giving to me on a regular basis, I want that. So why not just shift the thing? Why not feed the brain with positive thoughts, rather balanced thoughts? Because again, excess of anything is bad. It's not that you should be happy and positive all the times. Similar, like the example I said, if lion is in front of you, you are very relaxed that yeah, I'll be saved, I'm positive. Don't do that, okay? So you should feed your brain with balanced thoughts. You should thank your brain the moment any negative thought strikes. Because see, another very, very important psychological fact here is your brain will keep on reminding you about the negative things till you understand that, till you actually believe that, or till you act upon that. This is the work of your brain to safeguard you. If you are ignoring something, your brain will continuously remind you about that. So the first thing when any negative thought happens or comes to you is acknowledging that. If you get any negative thought, just welcome it. Because again, I say, the things which we try to resist, they come more into our mind. The tomatoes example and the plain example, right? Which I gave you. If I ask, don't think about the tomatoes, you will immediately visualize tomatoes with full color and all the things. Few people might visualize that, feel the taste also. So this is what happens to our brains. Don't avoid the negative thoughts. Please welcome the negative thoughts, because it is for your good only. And the reason why you deal with a loop of negative thinking is that you are avoiding it. The more you avoid it, the more you will get it, because your brain will kind of remind you again and again that, see, you are doing this wrong, you are doing this wrong, you are doing that wrong, you are doing that wrong. And you have made it so much habituated to warn you repeatedly that it has become a loop, and it has become obsessed with this repetitive negative thoughts. And this is where the problem is. So the first thing which you should do is acknowledge the negative thought, because here, if this pattern has formed in you, you need to break this pattern. You need to let those memories, that thing, fade from your hippocampus, and you have to kind of give it, feed it with the happy and balanced things. Okay, so this is what, memories never go away. There are people who say that, I want this thing to be erased from my brain. Things never get erased, they just fade away, or our brain doesn't focus much on them. It's like, for example, you have eaten lots of foods. Few of the items are which you like, few of them are which you don't like, but you still remember the taste of that when someone talks about it. Though you don't eat it anymore, so you might not feel affected by it, or maybe you don't care about it much. Yeah, similarly, brain has all the thoughts, all the memories, but it just doesn't care. It doesn't care about the things which doesn't serve it, basically, which it is not fed with. So here, acknowledge the thoughts, number one. Whenever that thought is coming, just think from where that thought is coming. What is my brain trying to tell me here? What is my brain trying to warn me here? Then express your gratitude to your brain. Just do a bit of self talking. Yeah, it will help you a lot. Just do the self talking to your brain that, okay, thank you so much for making me come across this thing, or making me realize this thing. I will take care of that, that negative mishappening doesn't happen. I'll try my best for that. Thank you so much for your help. That's all, you are done. Your brain is convinced. Okay, now many people will ask that, okay, you're not talking spiritual, you're talking psychological, so how can this happen? This is how affirmations work, right? You do the self talking. This is what affirmations are like. Many people say that, write it or look in the mirror and see, tell the affirmations. This is a type of self talking, feeding your brain. So here you have to feed your brain that, thank you so much for reminding me, I'll take care that any negative thing doesn't happen. And then you'll feel that thing will actually come down the moment you acknowledge it. The moment you think that, okay, I have to be cautious about it, I have to make sure that it doesn't happen, and then you thank your brain, that feeling will fade away automatically. Again, the second thing, if you are habituated to thinking negative, because you have fed your brain with lot of overthinking, because of ignoring the problems, or because of just over analysis, or over the counterproductive or non-productive things, so this pattern cannot be broke easily, because actually the thing is, like, see, as I was talking about, that it's like a drug. Yeah, the hormones which release, brain craves for that. So this breaking of this pattern is not really easy. So what you have to do here is make the flow chart, because you have to feed your brain with the opposite thoughts. Convincing your mind is very, very easy. Like, I was taking the example of this rope and the snake. Till the time you think that it is a snake, you'll feel fearful. By the time you understand that, oh, it's not a snake, it's a rope, all your fear goes away, you feel very relaxed. So this is what you have to do to your brain. You have to think that the problem is a rope, not a snake. You have to convince your brain. And how will you do that? The first thing, especially with the people who are indulged, who are totally obsessed with loop of negative thinking, of counterproductive or non-productive things, you make a flow chart. This is the best thing, like, because this is totally facts based, totally facts based. Or you can do just a thing, that pick up any problem, any random problem, and imagine that, what if this problem happened to you just once. Don't get indulged into negative thinking, and just write it somewhere, that what would you do if that situation happens, what your thoughts would be. Okay, write it, and then forget about it. Then after 1 week or 2 weeks, just take that same problem, same hypothetical problem, and think that it has happened to someone else, and you are asked to advise them about it, and then make a flow chart. You will clearly see the difference. When you see that thing from a neutral perspective, it will be more of facts based. more than yours, which is totally emotions, negative emotions based, right? So the first thing which you can do is detach, think of this problem as someone else's, and then make a flow chart, and always always ask yourself, whenever you are in the negative thing, just ask yourself that, okay, I understand that it can be a negative consequence, there can be a negative consequence of it, but am I really sure? If someone asked me to guarantee that, write on some document with stamps and all, that yeah, negative is bound to happen, can I guarantee that? The answer will come as no. Many times the answer is like, no, I cannot guarantee that, but still there are things which happen, right? Still I cannot say with surety that it will not happen, right? This is how brain comes up with negative thoughts. So in that you have to convince that, yeah, I acknowledge that negative can happen, but why should I worry if positive can also happen? Why not focus on getting the solution of the issue, right? So this is how, with repetition, with repetitive thinking, you will get into that mindset that you will not focus on anything negative. Second thing is writing a journal, not only the gratitude journal, but a journal of all your thoughts, all the thoughts you're having. Because once you read that, when you read that journal in the future, and you will see, you will read everything which has happened to you in the past and the emotions which you went through during that time, you will actually laugh at it. Trust me, you'll laugh at the things. You'll be like, how was I so much upset over the problems at that time? Trust me, it happens, and it will feed your brain with the things that it should not worry about the things as it worries now. So you just have to convince your brain. Other thing is, don't never think about the future. I mean, think in a productive way, but not in an unproductive way. Don't assume the negative things. You cannot assume any outcome which which doesn't exist. Future doesn't exist. It is in your hands. Either you choose the right door or the wrong door, and you are standing in front of both the doors, and you are thinking, yeah, negative will only happen. Negative will only happen. In fact, both the doors are right in front of you. So please don't do that. Second thing, focus on the past only to learn from it, not to feel negative about it. When you just look back into the past and see the mistakes you have done and what lessons are there to learn from it, it will give you a lot of peace and courage to actually get over the difficulties you are having, or get over the problems you are having. Another thing is, just think about yourself. Yeah, just think about what were you in the past and what are you now. And trust me, you are much, much stronger now because of those hardships which happened in the past. So hardships are important for us sometimes, because they give us strength, they give us wisdom and intellect to deal with the situations. If we have only uh, tasted sweet things, we won't know how bitter things taste, right? And once we taste bitter things, we value sweet things anymore, even more. And we actually take necessary actions not to prepare any food which is bitter, which we don't like. So this is how we should um, live our life. And another thing, again, gratitude journal. Write all the negative things which have happened to you, or which are kind of the things which you don't like actually, or any problem which you're dealing with the present. And then again, a flow chart: positive, negative, positive, negative. Then you will realize that the problem is only 1%, and you are thinking you are making it to 100%, and there is always a positive door in front of a negative door. Yeah. Another thing is mindfulness. Be in the present. It's very, very, very important, because again, you need to focus on the right things. If whatever you feed to your brain, that only will happen, right? So here, if I just ask you to just close your eyes and describe your whole room in detail, you won't be able to do that. Trust me, you won't be able to do that. I can assure you that you cannot describe it with all the details. And then you will understand, you will think that, oh, how do I not know about my own room, right? I always live there, I spend my time there, and I still don't know about it. But if I ask you to describe in detail about your problem, you can go on for days also. Why? Because you focus on them. So here you have to practice mindfulness. That can come through any way. You can do psychological practices, like just use all your five senses, all the five senses, like seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, hearing. Exclude feeling here, only the five senses. And then just focus on the present scenario right now. It's like an exercise. Like, for example, just close your eyes and just um just close your eyes and just try smelling anything which you which is like which you can smell currently. Any five things or three things or 10 things, depends on you. All the smells, basically anything which you can hear right now, even the smallest sound. Anything with what taste is coming into your mouth when you focus on your mouth right now, on your taste buds right now. Similarly, just open your eyes and describe any five things in detail which is there in front of you right now. So this is a very, very good thing of mindfulness. There are other methods also. If you want, I can make a video on mindfulness also, spiritual as well as psychological. Just let me know. And spiritual, definitely you can do meditation. It is very, very, very effective. Mindfulness meditation keeps you in the present, and this is why it's very effective, because you don't worry about the things which don't exist. Rather, you appreciate the present, you be in the present, you be in the facts. And then you know that either it can be negative or positive, and being in the present gives you this courage that even if it is a negative thing, it can have a positive outcome later. Yeah. So mindfulness is another thing. Other things which you know already are like affirmations, or you can, if you want to go into spirituality, it is healing, crystals, essential oils. So these are grounding yourself. Grounding is very, very, very important. Grounding, it helps you be stable and be in the present. Okay, so grounding yourself, grounding your energies is very, very, very important. And always remember one thing, that don't focus only on the single side of a coin. Okay, every coin has two sides, everything has two aspects. Always focus on both the aspects. I'm not talking, I never tell you to focus only on the positive. It's very, very important to include the negativity for two reasons. First, obviously you will have a healthy thinking and your mind will be in much peace, that okay, she understands or he understands that these are the negative consequences, and he or she is careful about it. So my work is done. I had to warn, I have won, my work is done. Second thing, you will rarely end up into anything negative when you acknowledge both the sides of the coin, when you actually um, kind of contemplate the things. Again, excess of anything is bad. You should do it in limits. And the third thing is, which I was talking about, when you focus, when you give equal importance, when you actually include the negativities, then automatically your mind will go. For example, if I ask you now that think of only the negative things for next 1 hour. Okay, leave 1 hour also, next 5 minutes. Think, you should not have any single positive thought within 5 minutes, only the negative things. I'm very sure you cannot do that also. Trust me. Trust me on that. You can try doing that. Anytime, even a single positive thought will definitely come within 5 minutes, because whatever we focus on, rather whatever we don't focus on, whatever we see, there's a difference between detaching and resisting. Detachment is very healthy. Not focusing on anything, letting the things flow is a healthy thing. But resisting something, stopping something forcibly is bad. So, this is what happens when you deliberately or forcibly stop something, resist something, it will come with more force. This is what happens. So once you see both sides of the coins, you won't be intrigued to see the other side of the coin. You have seen everything, you have analyzed everything, plus you have included the negative also, right? And another thing is, whatever thing which we avoid, our mind goes to that only. For example, a gift box has arrived. Okay, it's completely packed, it's wrapped. Your mind will go to that gift box unless it is unwrapped. And once it's unwrapped, you see what's there inside, then you're relaxed. This is what happens. Everything should be right in front of you. What you are doing currently, gift box is wrapped. Negativity, you have wrapped the negativity. It is right in front of you, and you are saying, no, no, I won't look there. I won't look there. I won't look there. So what will happen? Your mind will definitely go there only. This is what you are doing. So you have to unwrap the box. That is, you have to include the negativity, you have to contemplate, you have to analyze all the aspects. So this is something which is very, very important. And as I always say, I would like to conclude this one. Again, it's a long video, I guess, but I can't help it. I always think of cutting it short, but I don't know what happens. Anyways, But yeah, I really hope that it is of help to you. Do let me know in the comment section, okay? And yeah, so the last thing I would like to conclude it with, actually the people who are in my contact, they know I always say a thing, that any situation in life has two outcomes. Either it is reparable, that is, either there's a solution to it, or there is no solution to it. There are many things which are inevitable, which cannot be avoided, okay? And there are many things which have solutions. So the things which have solutions, go find the solutions, right? Because as I've been mentioning throughout this video, that over negative not negative thinking, like excess of negative thinking, which leads to fear, anxiety, and all the low vibration emotions and negative emotions, uh, it actually makes your mind suppressed, and it doesn't actually make your mind take right decisions and good decisions. So it's very, very important to think logically, and in a balanced way. Not logically, I would say in a balanced way, and include all the aspects. See both the points of both the sides of the coins. Things are never black or white, they are gray also, right? So this is what you have to understand, that you can make a situation, you can have a good outcome of a situation only with wise decisions. You know, right? There are many people who have changed the situation by their like wisdom, by their good thinking, by their intellect. This is what happens. A calm mind can only make wise decisions. An anxious mind, or any mind which is fearful or scared or angry or frustrated, cannot make good decisions. So make sure of that. Now coming to the other thing, which is irreparable, which is inevitable. For example, any wrong decision of your past has led to the present problem, like the things which have already happened. You cannot change them, right? So there's no point worrying about the past, like, because as I always say, you don't worry about the past, you are not never anxious about the past. You can feel guilty, you can regret, you can feel angry, but you are not, you are scared about what if the same situation happens in the future. What would I do? This is what you're fearful about, right? So the things which are irreparable, which have already happened, there is no point thinking or worrying about it. Because see, regret, guilt, and all, it is no point. The thing which has already happened, you cannot change that. In fact, by worrying, feeling guilty, and having all the negative loop of negative and counterproductive emotions, you can actually spoil your future, which is there in your hands. It's like you have entered a wrong door, and because of your guilt, embarrassment, shame, you are thinking that, yeah, I deserve to enter another wrong door again. And then you ignore the positive door and you enter the wrong door. People who are angry, they are so angry that they're focused on wrong door only. They don't see that there is another positive, a happy door beside it. So this is why things which are irreparable, they have happened. You have entered the wrong door. Done. Door is closed from behind. It cannot be opened again. But right in front of you, there is a positive and there is a negative door again. So please don't repeat the thing which you have done in the past. Right? So things which are irreparable, think of the solution rather than worrying. Things which are irreparable, there is no point worrying. In fact, you can be peaceful and you can make your future better, right? So that's all for today's video. I hope it has helped you. Do let me know, and if there are any doubts, anything which you want to ask me, or which were not clear to you, you can write them in the comment section. Or if you have any topics in mind which you want me to make videos on, do let me know. Actually, today's topic was mostly to make you understand that what is the problem is not the situation, problem is your response. Okay, so please understand that, and don't assume the things. Don't take a fiber of root and think that the whole tree will be born out of it, will be grown out of it. Or don't think that, okay, there's this rope, so it's not a rope, it's actually a snake. So please don't do these things, okay? And yeah, don't think that, okay, there's this lion, but I'm positive, I'm happy, I'm safe. Don't do that either. Okay, so, and yes, if you like this channel, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. And I have two other channels, I'll be giving the link in the description box below. So please go visit them as well, and like, share, subscribe to them as well. And yeah, share this video with your friends who might be helped with this video. And yeah, let me know about your thoughts on this. And yeah, that's all for today's video. Take care, stay blessed, till we meet again.